What you doing?
Trying on glasses with Zenny's 3D virtual try-on.
Wait, are those the actual prices? I say get all of them.
Seriously, why not, right?
Oh, now I want new glasses.
Zenny.com. Quality prescription glasses starting at $6.95.
Good morning, Pop Chasers, and happy Wednesday, June 9th. It is a new day, and we're talking Bachelor today, so get ready.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Allison, and I am joined by Kate. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
And we are the hosts of Pop Chaser, a daily pop culture podcast brought to you by The Dip. We have one thing we really want to get into today, and then there's like a couple of things peppered throughout, I should say, that we can touch on. But where do you think we should start today, Kate?
Oh my God, there's so much. So yesterday, I know on our podcast, we sort of said we were holding on Bachelor until today because we wanted to give everybody who's spoiler phobic a day to be able to soak it all in. So there's a lot to talk about with the episode. But then, of course, yesterday brought the news about Chris Harrison's departure, which we also sort of teed up in our episode. So it is 100% confirmed. Chris Harrison is not coming back. And, you know, I think it is something that feels like it was inevitable anyway. I don't know how much there more is to say about this beyond the fact of who is going to come next. And that is the big question, I think, on everyone's tongue right now.
Yeah, for sure. And you brought up a really good point earlier, Kate, about just like there are two different camps of Bachelor viewers. Those are the people who are watching it for that pure entertainment. They could care less how it ends in terms of like a romantic relationship. And then there are the people who genuinely would like to see like relationships form from the show. They still believe in the process, and that's not to say that that's wrong. It's just I think some people over the years have become a little cynical of the process, just considering what we've seen. So it'll be interesting to see how they find a host, if they find a host that can balance both of those, or if one camp is going to be kind of siloed in the decision. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Chris, had a very generic statement saying, I'm wrapping up my time as a host. And it's like, but I think we've wrapped it. I think it's been wrapped.
It's been wrapping for 6 months, and you've been thinking about how you spend that.
We wrapped it like the same day we started wrapping that big ass gift that was on the premiere episode. Also, like, not to completely just segue into the episode, but we might as well, right? Like,
oh yeah, let's do it.
The poor production assistant that got assigned to the guy who wrapped himself as a gift, like a 6x6 gift box.
Okay, but here's where I get cynical. Do you think any of these men come up with these entrances on their own, or do you think the producers do it for them? Because I just don't think that any of them are clever enough to come up with this.
I think that they get help. My guess is, I bet that the producer, like, I feel like from my experience watching like Unreal and just like interviews, I feel like you probably have a producer that you're kind of assigned, or they're assigned to you, and they kind of help shepherd you through the show. I guarantee they come to you, they go, Kate, what's your limo exit? What's it going to be?
And then if I say, I don't know, you're
like,
okay,
I'm going to just walk out and say, hey, I'm Kate. I like cats. Like, can't wait to talk to you more.
And they're like, are you sure you want to do that? Because I think if you did something more interesting, you'd really come closer to getting Katie's heart.
They might say, hey, why don't you dress as a cat and then make out with the lead, transfer your makeup?
Okay, I don't think anyone anticipated that happening. I think nobody thought that Katie was going to make out with a cat on the first night. Look, I loved it for so many reasons. First of all, I was filled with glee that somebody dressed like a cat. I am a cat person. And to me, that was something that's really funny and close to my heart. And I would totally have fallen for that myself. But also, you don't make out with somebody that has makeup whiskers on without worrying at least a little bit about how it's going to look when you stop making out with them. Like, does it transfer onto my cheeks? Am I going to look bad?
Yeah.
And so for somebody to do that, that person is so committed to making sure that we enjoy that TV watching experience that I have to give Katie major props. And I honestly was a little bit worried, especially with some of the scenes from The Bachelor and the promos that we had before the episode aired on Monday. I really thought, okay, maybe Katie seems like she's like a little bit overacting on something.
Yeah.
She's like crying about like, if you don't want to be here, you bet. Yeah, exactly. And so to have it open up the way it did on Monday felt to me like, okay, she is sort of in on the joke here, and she is ready to give us something that's actually interesting.
Was the most upsetting part of it when you saw his hands grab her head and they were paused? Or was the most upsetting thing the makeup transfer? I'm going to be honest, for me, it wasn't the makeup transfer. It was the pause. I couldn't get that image out of my head. And he just kept like holding her head. And it was so upsetting. And look, I wrote about this on the dip. I'm not a cat person, unlike Kate. And so like, I've been traumatized by humans as cats too much in the last 5 years.
Okay, I was traumatized by Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats as well, even as a cat lover.
Yeah, but like the movie took it to another level.
That's what I'm talking about, the movie.
So
terrifying.
I mean, but have you seen the stage show? It's not any better. I don't understand why it's like this revered show. The music, fine, but like even the music is like dressing adults as cats. Stop. Put an end to the madness. With that said, I do really like Connor B. I think he's great. Who was your standout? Everyone has so much love for Greg. I know you even wrote about it.
I really liked Greg. I think he's playing the game the best at the very least. But I also did think that there was something endearing to him in that he was a little more shy. He was somebody that wasn't like ready to come out and like be the
You gotta be suspicious of those people.
Of the noisy ones or of the shy ones? No, exactly.
Noisy.
And so for him to kind of
know how to be on a reality show.
Exactly. And so for him to kind of be like a little bit more unassuming and sweet. Now, I know that he wants a wife that wants 6 kids. That's a little bit, it's a tall order. Intimidating.
You birth them, bud.
And I know that he had previously been cast for Claire's season, and then in the whole like mix up stuff went by the side. And so I'm always skeptical of that a little bit. Do we think
he was just like rolled over? Is it like 18 minutes?
I think totally. I think it's being rolled over. But then if you're somebody who's like accepting being rolled over, then you're kind of like, okay, well,
I'm here for a good time,
exactly. Like you're not like somebody who's like, hey, I saw Katie, I really liked her, and I actually think we can get along. Although those people creep me out too.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I'm very suspicious of the people who say like, I'm here because it's Katie, or I was so happy to find out it was Katie.
Also on night one, them already, and I feel like they do this a lot more on The Bachelorette than they do in The Bachelor, which is interesting, is that the men will start talking about on night one, well, Katie doesn't want a man who's like this. Katie wants a man who is going to be like that. And you don't know this woman. It's possessive. You don't know this woman. You don't know what she wants. And
that's
you don't
a great point.
The Bachelorette or the Bachelorette contestants saying that on The Bachelor. Like they're all like
they're insecure. They're like, I hope I'm enough for him.
Right. And these guys just decide that they know what Katie wants. It drives me crazy.
Such a good point, Kate. Well, that's definitely worth exploring more. Who knows? Maybe you guys will see that on thedip.com. That's why you got to subscribe. Use promo code PopChaser. So in addition to Greg, Connor B, I'm like, can we please, for the love of God, find guys with just different names?
I know. That should be a rule. You can't
I've just got to say, like, we don't need 5 Connors. Like, I guarantee that there was like a Dylan out there that was just as good.
How are there so many Connors too? My God.
There's always at least 2 Connors. Always.
Really?
Yes.
Is that like an age bracket thing where there's
it might be? I mean, I went to school with a lot of Connors.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
That's interesting. I don't think I know a single Connor.
So in addition to the Connors, the cat makeouts, there was also like this insane fight that broke out.
Yeah.
Out
of nowhere.
Quite literally nowhere. So it was between Cody and Aaron. And I mean, all of a sudden, it is just like, I don't like you.
I don't have to like you. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to like you. And it's like, wait, how did this even, during what point in the last 45 minutes did you guys come at odds?
Olivia Truffaut Wong, who's one of our reporters, she did some Instagram stalking, and she basically found out that they seem to both be working or like doing promo, maybe maybe even SpawnCon, for the same like supplement company.
Oh my God.
So if it didn't feel already so on the nose for a guy named Aaron and a guy named Cody to be fighting, it's that they also work again, and like they probably don't, maybe they don't know each other, but perhaps they run in like the same circle. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting reveal. Can't wait to find out. Like, hopefully, at least Men Tell All will get more details. But even Katie was confused by it. She like tweeted. She was like, confused math lady meme.
Right.
She tweeted that. She was like, learning there was drama. She didn't even know. She was like, learning there was drama between Cody and Aaron the first night, but why?
So do they have SpawnCon before they even were on the show?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, when you're swole, Kate, gym is life.
Are you saying I'm not swole?
No, I said,
Are you saying that I can't also get swole SpawnCon?
look, if you push hard enough, you can get anything you want in life. Even
Manifest
protein powders. So that was another thing. I'd love to talk more about like protein powder and like supplements, but I would also love to talk about what Katie was taken in that day. So I get it's stressful. Here's my question for you, Kate. If you were the Bachelorette, would you drink?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the night
100%.
of.
Oh yeah.
I would too, but I think I would be so nervous that like the nerves would cancel out any alcohol effects.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I wouldn't feel it as much, but I would feel it, I think, enough to
but
the
it's
point
like a wedding, right? Like, brides are like,
Yeah.
oh, I was too busy.
Right, but you also just don't think about it. Like you definitely had like a glass of champagne or two at your
Yes.
wedding.
Well,
you just
Katie was not doing just champagne. And this is coming via Jason Tardik, Caitlin Bristow's fiance, also one-time contestant of The Bachelorette. And he revealed, this blew my mind. He revealed what was supposedly what Katie was drinking that night. And it looked like, almost like, I thought she was drinking whiskey or something. And I was like, hey, I totally respect that. Just that's a hard alcohol for night one, like I would probably drink something with personally a lower alcohol content, but I have no judgment. She was drinking Red Bull, champagne, and a White Claw mixed. Now,
it's a lot going on there.
Where do I begin? First of all, I'd love to know what flavor White Claw would go with that.
So I think if you're doing, let's see, a Red Bull and you're doing champagne,
don't say watermelon.
It's not going to be watermelon. It's not going to be anything super fruity. I think you have to do
like a lime,
a lemon or a lime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And arguably those are some of the best, but I mean,
agree to disagree.
Kate loves the watermelon White Claw, which is
so
just
good.
Utterly disgusting. One time I just threw out cans of it.
You should have sent them to me.
That's like the worst part of the variety 2-pack, because it just has like watermelon.
No way. Like the lemon and the lime is like the lemon starburst. Like it's there, it's fine. But
I love it. It's refreshing.
I want to go to the pink.
No, well, I mean, look, Starburst world, I totally agree with you. But
I think
yeah,
same
so
goes in Seltzer world. But anyway,
no. So Katie is drinking this drink, and Olivia also looked up this drink, and there is a recipe for something called liquid cocaine. About the White Claw, add in vodka, and you have liquid cocaine. Red Bull, champagne, and vodka. So
this is actually
Katie,
a drink that she ordered. I wonder, like, was it nerves that made her just be like a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that? Or was it sort of like, no, this is an actual drink that she enjoys on the reg?
It sounds like such a headache. Like,
oh yeah,
I love champagne. Don't get me wrong. I love a Prosecco. I love a cava. I'll take anything bubbly, but it is like, it just gives you a headache, right? Like at a certain point in life, at a certain age in life, champagne is just going to ruin your day the next day. Maybe it's also the martinis I have with champagne usually.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I was gonna say I don't have champagne problems these days, but also I think quarantine really like gave me like an iron stomach.
Sure. But then to add the Red Bull, I mean, here's the thing. Everything makes sense on its own. Red Bull for energy, champagne for celebration, White Claw, because that's probably her drink. She enjoys a White Claw. Who doesn't? but together, I mean, I think I have to try it. I think
it's like when you go to those like fast food restaurants and they have like, you try to get a little bit of each soda. I think, what do they call it? They call it a suicide.
Oh God. Or like you're at the movie theater and you have the literal touch screen and you can have like every flavor under the fucking sun.
It's like she did that, but with
Dr.
alcohol.
Pepsi. So Kate and I, we're going to be coming to you guys live together at the end of the month. I think, Kate, we're already planning on doing Bottoms Up via Kathy Hilton. Ooh. I think we also need to now try the Katie Thurston liquid cocaine amendment.
Yes, I like this.
So we're going to just drink our way through reality TV.
Love it.
And we'll report back to everybody. But Bottoms Up is going to be, maybe we should just do that on the podcast. Just chug martinis.
Oh yeah, no, I think we should do this live. We got to do a live tasting.
You'll never meet people who love a martini more, other than like maybe James Bond, more than Kate and I. Like we are like martini obsessed. So, and we know a good martini when we meet one. So is there anything other Bachelor we could talk? I'm trying to think.
I mean, beyond just all of the, the stunts and everything.
Yeah, the stunts. Like, one thing I wanted to note, I don't think, did you disagree with me on this? I thought the guy who did the accent, the English accent. I thought that was a great exit. I've never seen anybody do that before. And I might just not be remembering it, but it's memorable. I wouldn't have pulled out of it so quickly. I think I would have kept it the whole time.
Like all of night one.
Yeah, because not all of night one, but like then she goes in.
You in trouble.
She goes in and she's like, wow, like there's an English guy here. And you're like, hey, I'm Dave, or whatever his name is. And he's like from Chicago. So it kind of works out. It works out even better.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good one because you don't have to embarrass yourself unless you're really bad at an accent. And we know Kate isn't.
Oh
so
no,
you could do like
it's not cool.
He's not doing that. That's all she could say.
That's all I could say anymore. Oh, Toby don't know. No.
But I mean, then they'd just be like, is she having a stroke right now? But I think that I thought it was really, I was like, God, because I would always try to take the easy way out, right? Like I would absolutely try to be the person who didn't have to make a fool of myself. And I thought that was a really good one. It was like, I would have done that one. I also enjoyed the ball pit. You know what I didn't enjoy? The skin
oh yeah,
salesman
talking about that. Yeah, surgical
took
skin
her into
salesman.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what's that?
I mean, that's like a legitimate job, right?
Like
that's sort of like,
what is surgical skin?
Well, I mean,
I have an idea in my head.
I don't want to speak out of turn of what it is.
Look, I'm gonna just say it, okay? Look, surgical skin salesman makes me feel like somebody at some point has been skinned.
It's for skin grafts. That's what I thought it was. It's for skin grafts. So
can you sell skin?
It's not real skin, I don't think. It is like it's like for when people have like burns and stuff like that. So it's actually some nobility in this career.
Sure. I mean, well, sure. He's not harvesting these. Well, I guess you're not harvesting anything because it's not real skin. But look, in my head, I hear surgical skin salesman. I'm already at a 10. Then he takes her into an RV and hands her a glass of tea, iced tea. Then I'm at a 20 because no one hands me a glass of iced tea without one ice cube. That was just, and I'm sure they were doing that for like sound. I don't care. A room temp iced tea. It's in the name. It's iced. A room temp iced tea in an RV that has been lived in. And then it just it felt threatening. It felt threatening. Is that guy even there anymore? That's the problem. Is I'll be honest.
Honestly, I can't keep track of any of them yet.
Night one, when she's calling him up, I'm like, sure, okay, we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out down the line. As we've said last season, we didn't know any of their names until the final four.
Even the final four, I was like, who is this?
Yeah, if I asked you to name them right now, I don't think you'd be able to.
I don't know that I could. I honestly don't know that I could. I think Victoria is the only one, and she was
in the final four.
No. The final four was
no.
All I can think right now, to be honest, is the final four of Rock of Love, which I know is not is not the same.
Somehow it always gets back to Rock of Love.
I commit that to memory, but I can't commit something that happened 3 months ago.
It's because we're all trying to forget about it. So is
Ugh.
ABC, by the way, because there was not a mention of Matt. Not a mention. It was kind of awkward.
It was very awkward.
It's like the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Like Katie was just like, nah, I had my heart broken. I'm better now. They were like, okay, that's enough. You're good. You're good. Anyway, so that is our Bachelor recap. We, I mean, like I said yesterday, I'm excited to see what happens next. I think Katie made me hopeful for a good season. I'm always a little wary of people who are like, I'm the real girl.
Yeah.
No, but I'm hoping that's just the men putting that on her and not her putting herself in that little, because I'm just like, then just be real. So another really fun thing, and we'll just go through this really quickly, is Kate, do you remember in Bridgerton, the now iconic scene where Regé Jean Page says, I burn for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I don't remember because
he didn't say it.
And this is the same type of thing where we know Daphne says it. And you know what? I think I actually did notice that when I was watching, because I watched it a little later than everybody else. And I had seen all of like the I burn for you stuff and everything. And when I watched that scene, I was like, oh, it's Daphne. It's not him. But like, this is along the same lines of, you know, people thinking that there's a movie called Shazam starring Sinbad, or people thinking Beam Me Up Scotty is a line. It's never ever said.
Luke, I'm your father.
Luke, I'm your father is not said. It's so fascinating.
It's the Mandela effect.
Sort of, I mean, yeah,
we've completely, but the thing that's so funny to me, and I'm sure this happened with like Star Wars and Star Trek and everything, is the amount of merch that was made with the Duke's face with I burn for you. It's like, bro is just present for that line. He didn't do he did not do anything. But anyway, Regé Jean Page actually like clarified. He was like, I didn't say that. That was not me. Which is just kind of funny. So Etsy shops all over the world. Like, you know, let's correct this wrong.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? Because in some ways it's like, oh, poor Daphne doesn't actually get the notoriety for saying the
She's
thing.
Fine. It
and
makes
sense. I think about like, I remember
considering we called her Bangs.
I went to a museum once, just one time, and there was an exhibit on like sort of like screenwriting and stuff. And I think what they had there was, I want to say it was Taxi Driver or something like that.
Like a script?
Yeah. And it was showing like some of the notes or whatever, but it was noting that, you know, Are You Talking to Me is not actually in the script, right? Like that was improv by Robert De Niro. And I think how sad would it be to be the screenwriter of a huge film and the most famous line that comes out of it is something that was
you didn't write,
ad-libbed in 2 seconds, and everyone that you talk to and you're like, oh yeah, I wrote Taxi Driver.
Like,
and they're like, oh yeah, you talking to me? Like, I didn't fucking do that part. No, but
and they're like, you know what? I always quote the most iconic line from that movie. It's one of the best lines in cinematic history. Like, you did that. And they're like, I didn't though. I didn't.
And so that's that
was like in writing, like my favorite part is like when you send something and somebody's like obsessed with the headline and you're like, well, that part wasn't me. So thanks so much.
Yeah.
But did you read the rest of it? They're like, I couldn't get past the headline. It was so good. You're like, okay. But anyway, so that is those are the topics of the day. It was kind of a slow day, but I feel like everyone was talking about Bachelor /Bachelor. I think we can both agree that just bring on Paradise.
Yes, very excited.
And I think that this season's men are already like, I'm like, I could see you on the beach. I could see you there. Anyway, ready for our dip dive of the day?
Yeah. Oh my God. I have so many things I could talk about this week, but today I'm going to talk about, so here's the thing that I'm obsessed with today. That's maybe nothing. Well, this has nothing to do with entertainment, but I got sucked into a Ask Reddit thread where the topic was what punishment, either real or imagined, sounds light or not a big deal at first, but it's actually horrific to experience.
Oh.
And it was a fascinating thing to look through, partially because so many people talked about how when they were kids, getting punished by their parents would put salt on the ground and tell them to kneel on it. and it was apparently would like be really really hurt after a while, especially with like sea salt, I guess. Of course, you can you imagine kneeling. Yeah. And I'm like, this was something
pink
that
Himalayan.
yeah, this is what children had to go through. Like, what? That is crazy. But like so many people said that this was like an average punishment that they had to go through. I guess
is that like a religious thing?
I have no idea. I mean, I just know it from Reddit at this point. So that was something brand new. And then I got really deep learning about something that is pretty horrific.
Oh boy.
I know. I always go through
really like
super, you know what? I like dark things. I don't know what to tell you, but there is a form of punishment called a standing cell where it's basically like a box and all you can do is stand, and you're standing on concrete. And that's apparently one of the most painful things you could be doing for a long period of time. So you can't lean back. You can't lay down. You can't do anything. You can't adjust yourself. You're just standing in a box basically for days, not able to do anything.
When did they do this?
Well, so they started it in the Ottoman Empire. Okay. And then
so just recently.
I mean, it's not that it was used most in the in Nazi Germany. Wow. As a punishment in concentration camps and everything. So, and also in the Soviet Union and under Stalin's rule and everything.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do they have different sizes?
Yeah. So there are different sizes, but it kind of like you make it how you want to make it. It's not like it's
only imagine. I mean, I can't actually, but like I can look, anyone who stood for like longer than 20 minutes knows, like if you've had to, like that is painful.
Yeah. So, and it's just like, it's a weird thing where you think like, it's almost like a survivor challenge in some ways, right? It's just like, if you stand for, how long can you stand? And when you watch it, you're like, I can't imagine, like, I can do that. That seems easy or whatever. But of course, it's so much worse. So, so I just found it fascinating that something like that is used as a form of like torture and punishment for people. And it just makes you realize how like depraved our world is that they come up with this shit. It's crazy.
I always actually thought about that, like water torture. I'm always like, who was the person that was like, I've got an idea?
Yeah. Well, another one that I read about, which is in the Middle Ages, and it's very, very much a Middle Age thing, is that you would put like food on somebody's foot and then goats would come and lick it. And at first it's just ticklish, but like if it licks enough, it starts tearing the skin off.
Oh my God.
Right?
Who's thinking of these things?
I don't know.
This is like the modern day of like, wetting the bed when you're older and like setting cats on fire, aka like signs of a sociopath and future serial killer. The people who are like, let's have the goats lick their feet.
How do you come up with that?
That's that.
How do you go? I went to a crime and punishment museum when I was a kid.
2 museums.
Yeah, I've been to 2. It was in Germany, so it was real. And it was wild just seeing everything that they used to do in the Middle Ages.
What a fun thing to do as a kid.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, that probably is the reason why I'm obsessed with these
I was going to say, I wonder where it came from. You're like 7 and you're like, look at that torture.
But it's fascinating. I mean, you just like, you learn about how different our world is now. And, there are plenty of things still wrong, but my God, at least this is not happening on a widespread scale.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, maybe people are still getting goats to lick their feet somewhere. I'm sure that's a thing for some corners of the internet.
I mean, well, that was a good deep dive. And we will one day bring you something that isn't so depressing.
Oh, I know, but I've got so many more.
Yeah, but like that day, I said someday. That day is not this week, you guys.
No. I mean, you tend to bring the positive deep dives. I go down these holes that are unimaginably horrific and terrifying.
Well, I can't wait for the next one because, as you said, like you just have so many, just waiting at the gate to come out to play. But we'll have to save those for another day. Of course, you guys can check out our other podcast, TV Watch Repeat. It is where we do a deep dive on TV shows and TV pilots specifically. So if you want to hear happy things, go check out NYC Prep, which is actually kind of like sad in Kate's eyes.
Yeah, that depresses me.
That's Kate. Watching NYC Prep was Kate's torture. That was a goat licking her foot for 45 minutes. But yeah, you can check that out. Also, you can use the promo code POPCHASER to get 50% off of thedip.com, an annual subscription. You can comment on the site. We have a lot of other podcasts you can check out. Hot Off the Mess with Samantha Bush, Bravo Historian, and the Slut Pig podcast by Christian Grace Snow. We also have some new podcasts coming this week. So
Stay tuned.
We'll tell you all about those when they come out, but very exciting stuff. Not with Kate and I. So just like, manage your excitement, because I know you guys are just dying to have a third podcast with Kate and I, where we just talk about murder, which, you know what? It's not off the table.
It's not off the table.
We're still very invested in the Delphi murders and willing to pick up
still
the slack of where down the hill bled off.
Still haven't been solved yet, despite the case break that happened, or the person of interest. It hasn't been cemented yet. A little update there. Kate and I will get there one day. Mm-hmm.
But until then, and until more crimes being solved and more bachelorette cat licking. Ooh, I'm sorry, I just said the word licking. I'm to goats now. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow with more headlines. And until then, cheers.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of this.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.